Hi guys. We're gonna start with chapter 9 in the Algebra 2 book. Just so hopefully you guys can do some of the stuff on your own. And then as we kind of get this down, depending how chapter 9 and we might do 10 in Algebra 2, and then we might go to our trig book. Hopefully you guys got the Algebra 2 resource, like online book, and there's tutorial videos and there's all sorts of things on there. But I'm just gonna go through some notes. Trig functions, we should have all of this in some of our notes, like 1.3 maybe. And these are your main three. And these are the reciprocals that go with it. So I'm just going to jump down to here. It says find the values of 6 trig functions for angle theta. I'm just going to do one of these because we did do these before. So remember to find the third side. We have to use Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And these are your legs, and this is your hypotenuse. So this is my hypotenuse here. This is a leg, so I'm finding a leg. It doesn't matter if it's A or B. So to find this second side, we're just gonna do, I'll go over here. A squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. So 13 squared minus 5 squared is going to give me 144. And then just square root. So A would give me 12. And then we just go through and find the 6 trig functions. So sine is, and remember it's from theta, there's theta. So sine theta, opposite would be 5 over hypotenuse would be 13. Cosine theta is adjacent. So adjacent's 12, hypotenuse is 13. And remember, your hypotenuse is always opposite your right angle. That's how you know what's hypotenuse and what's adjacent. Tangent theta is opposite over adjacent. So 5 over 12, and then we just do the reciprocals. So cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. And cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. Okay, hopefully got those. I'm not going to go through the rest of them. In a right triangle, angle A and angle B are acute. If tangent A is 7 over 12, what is cosine A? I like to just draw my triangle. So here's my nice triangle. I'll put theta here. Doesn't matter where you put theta. And tangent is opposite over adjacent. So opposite over adjacent. We need to find hypotenuse because cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So we need this guy. So we'll have 7 squared plus 12 squared gives me 193. Square root of 193 is ugly. So see if it breaks down. For some reason, I don't think it does. Like 193, 3 doesn't go into it, 2 doesn't, 4 doesn't. I'm pretty sure it doesn't break down. If it does, I'm wrong. Someone will have to tell me. So make sure you keep it in the square root. Don't give me a decimal. So then cosine of A would be adjacent. This should be A, not theta. Cosine of A is adjacent, so 12 over my hypotenuse. Remember, that's illegal, so we have to multiply to the top and the bottom. So our final answer for cosine of A would be 12 square root of 193 all over 193. Good. I'll go ahead and do 6. So sine of B is 3 over 8. So let's draw our triangle again. This is B. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So to find this, we take 8 squared minus 3 squared and get the square root of 55. Add that because it'd be 5 and 11. So yeah, that doesn't break down. What is tangent of B? So tangent is opposite, which is 3 over adjacent. And again, we can't have that. So, sorry, we have to multiply by the square root of 55, the top and bottom. So tangent of B would give me 3 square root of 55 all over 55. Okay, when we've done that before as well. So hopefully this isn't too shabby. Okay, this I don't think we have done, and I don't know if you did it, if Hackbarth was here or not. So now we gotta be careful. Uh, Make sure you're using the right button in your calculator. There's an example done up here for you. Uh, what in the world? Oh, that's down there. Okay, never mind. Sorry. So use a trig function to find each value of x, round to the nearest tenth if necessary. Make sure you use your main trig function. So sine, cosine, or tangent. I would not use your reciprocals because then you have to do all sorts of crazy things in your calculator. I would just stick to your main three. So here is my angle I'm going from. So this would be opposite over adjacent. So that's tangent because tangent's opposite over adjacent. So we have tangent of 38. Go over here. Tangent of 38 equals opposite, which is 10, over adjacent, which is x. Now, I like to cross multiply. Okay, so we have x times tangent of 38 equals 10, and then to solve for x, we have to divide by tangent of 38. So that's what's getting plugged into your calculator. I'll show you, hopefully you guys can see this. First of all, I need to make sure my calculator is in degrees, and it is, so make sure your calculator's in degrees, otherwise you won't have the right answers. And you're gonna take 10 divided by, I'll do both ways. I don't think I need parentheses, tangent of 38, and then I should get the same thing if I take tangent of 38. Yep. And it says round to the nearest tenth if necessary, so x would give me 12.8. Make sure we round correctly. I'm gonna go over here to number 3 quick. So here's the angle that it's given. So it'd be opposite, and then this is my hypotenuse. So what trig function out of these three is opposite and hypotenuse? So it'd be sine. So we'd have sine of 20 equals opposite, which is x, over hypotenuse, which is 14.5. Cross multiply, and we don't have any dividing to do over here because you get x equals 14.5 times tangent of 20 degrees. So that's, we don't have to divide there. So we'd have 14.5 times tangent of 20. And that's what we would get. So x would be 5.3. Sorry. Oh, not tangent. That's why I'm looking at it funny. Sorry. How about sine? I have sine there. Sorry. Sine. 14.5 times sine of 20. My bad. So x would be 5.0. Sorry, I have it right here, and then I don't know why I did tangent. I'll do 5 quick, and then we'll go to the bottom. And notice on these ones, guys, we're finding a side, okay? Because down here it gets a little bit different. Here, so this is my angle. It gives me opposite over hypotenuse. We just did that one. Let's do 4. So here gives me adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse would be cosine. So cosine of 45 gives me adjacent, which is 5, hypotenuse, which is x. And again, cross multiply. Now here we do need to divide because we have x times cosine of 45 equals 5. So we do have to divide this time. So in our calculator, we'll have 5 divided by cosine of 45. So 7.1. And that was for 4. Okay, so notice on these ones, finding a side. Here we are finding, notice where our x is in an angle. So we have to use our inverse. So here's x, and it's given me, and again, stick with your main three, sine, cosine, tangent. It's given me adjacent and hypotenuse. So that would be cosine. So we have cosine of x equals adjacent, which is 4, over hypotenuse, which is 7. So we have to use our inverse function on our calculator. Oh, I'm not showing you guys, am I? So since I'm finding an angle, you need to use your cosine inverse. So to find x here, we would do cosine inverse of 4 over 7. So inverse, mine is blue here. So to get my inverse, I'd have to hit my second. And notice you have a -1. And we're doing 4 divided by 7. And we're finding an angle. So x is going to give me round to the nearest tenth. So x is going to give me 55.2 degrees because we are finding an angle there. Okay. 8, again, I'm finding an angle. It's giving me adjacent and hypotenuse again. So cosine again. So we have cosine of x equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So since I'm finding an angle, x is going to give me the inverse of cosine of 13 over 33. So again, same thing, inverse of cosine, 13 divided by 33 will give me 66.8 degrees. I'll go ahead and do the last one. Here's x, so it's given opposite over hypotenuse, so that would be sine. So sine x equals 4 over 10. So to find my angle, I need to take sine inverse of 4 over 10 to get me x. So same thing, sine inverse, 4 over 10. So x is going to give me 23.6 degrees. Alrighty, hopefully it wasn't too bad. I'm going to go ahead and do 9-2 on another note. So on any of these guys, if you need me to go through any more examples, just let me know, please. How do I pause this guy?